So today we're going to actually take a little spin in the Golem, the new Drake Golem. I've actually outfitted this with a Riger C3 and a Focus 3. Give you a little more power. I should mention that the Golem actually comes with a laser that has the same power as the Helix, but the stats on it are a little bit different. Maybe I'll cover that a little bit later. But for right now, let's actually get into the belt since surface mining is still kind of wonky. So what I'm doing is I'm actually left from Crew L1. I'm heading towards ArcCorp. I'm going to drop out right around 9.5 gigameters left. And that should put me in the middle of band 5 in the belt. And then we'll start looking for some asteroids to mine. All in all, I'd say it's pretty comparable to the Prospector for a lot less cost. You got a better laser. You've got two module slots as compared to one on a Hofstede, which is what I usually run on the Prospector. You still get a decent amount of charge zone. Obviously, you don't have a bed or any of that stuff in this ship, but for a starter ship, that's okay. This will get you into mining a lot faster. It's not available to purchase in game yet that I'm aware of. However, it only cost I think like $50 or $60 on the store. So if you don't have very many ships and you're looking to buy something else, it might work. All right, let's see what we can find here. So we'll go ahead and switch into scanning mode. Actually, let's switch into SCM first, which is how I like to mine because I like to have my shields. Then we'll switch into scanning mode. All right. Now I did notice that it looks like the um, ability to see the numbers for scanning doesn't seem to be working right. So you'll need to keep that in mind initially. I got around this by normally what I do is I take the Golem and I throw it in an M2 or C2 or Hercules with some extra bags. And then I go ahead and mine that way. That way I fly the M2 where I want to go. I find the rocks I want to break. And then I get the Golem out. I realize not everybody has a C2 or an M2. So we're going to do this one without it. Just so we can get a look at how it actually functions. So we've got our first candidate here. Let's see what we got. It's like a Q type. Sometimes Q types will actually have quantanium in them, so this will be really good if this is something we can break, but it looks pretty big, so we'll see. Now, I did bring a saber with me. With that, you might be able to get up to about 14, 15, depending on the rock constant, what it's made of. All right, let's see what we got here. Are we going to scan here? Yeah, that's way too big. But we got gold in it, so that's good. All right, let's find something else. All right, let's see. What do we got here? 11, 8. Let's try that one. Normally, I would go for something. Typically, your asteroids are going to be for a single asteroid. They're going to be in the 1900 range. I would look for something normally bigger than that. I prefer something in the 3,000 plus range. Just keep in mind multiples of 2,000 are salvage, so you don't want those in a Golem. But anything else should be pretty much fair game. I should mention I've seen some lately that are like 2,500 and so forth that turned out to be ships. So you kind of want it to be not an even number like that. But I have seen some that were, so I would say just check them out just in case. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, get closer and scan it here. See what we got. Can't really judge by size like that because they're pretty much all going to show look pretty big compared to the ship. So let's see what we can do with this. Now, normally I wouldn't go for barrel, but this will give you at least an idea of what it'll do. You want to get inside the optimal range. Let me show you here. If you actually go outside and look, you can see the laser is not even hitting it. That's a change they've made. So your max range is exactly that, your max range now. So you've got to be inside that max range to be able to even hit the rock. Go ahead and run up the power here and see what we can do. I may not pick this up yet, we'll see. But we'll at least break it and take a look and see how it works. Same thing as before, try to keep it in the lower half of the charge bar. You could actually substitute for a focus, instead of a focus 3, you could do a torrent 3, and that would actually give you a faster charge rate, because one of the penalties for the Pitman laser that they put on this is actually a slower charge rate. So it gives you a decent charge window, unlike the Helix, but it does give you a slower charge rate. But it'll still get the job done. Alright. Let's see what we got here. 63%. I mean, if I get like a really high percent wise, like 80, 90, 100, I might grab it. We'll see. Obviously, all bets are off once we actually get to crafting and all that in the game, because then we'll actually need some of these other materials. But for right now, we don't. Alright, let's see what we got here. That's pretty much all aluminum for the most part. And all inert. Alright, so that didn't work. So let's find something else here. We got a 9.8 up there. Let's go for that. Again, scanning's not working. It looks like it's broken. If you look to the right of center of the screen, you'll see the actual scan bar. What it's actually on right now is cross section, which typically will actually show you what you're getting. And apparently the rock disappeared. That ain't good. Alright, let's find something else, I guess. Looks like everything kind of disappeared on me here. Maybe it's the scanning that's the problem. Alright, so there's 3K. Let's try that. Alright, so right now we're doing this, and this is out in the belt. Now, if you're actually surface mining, you'll have to also contend with surface rocks, like rocks for geo and the actual rock. So those will be things to keep in mind as well. Basically, those will be things that show up within 5K that you don't see them till then. Anything over 5K away is going to be a rock that you can mine normally. So let's see what we've got here. This one looks pretty big too, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's laranite. So we get a nice little cross section here of stuff to break. Here, so we'll back off a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's see. Now this does have a minimum 20% laser power, so I actually tried 2 Riker C3s, but it made it almost impossible to break anything under about 3K without shooting up into the overcharge. You'd have to pulse it by turning the laser on and off in order to be able to break it. Not ideal, especially if you're just starting out. Now, I have had better luck in Pyro for those that want to actually venture over there. I have been able to actually mine over there on the surface in some cases, but I've had no luck whatsoever in Stanton. So just keep that in mind when you're mining. If you're adamant that you want to go surface mining, you're probably going to have to go to Pyro. Although I did see something today about them releasing a possible patch to hotfix to Evo for testing that's supposed to help possibly address the issues with surface mining. But that's not in live yet, and it's not scheduled to be anytime quick. So, all right, 73%. Ordinarily, if I was actually going out to pick up rocks, I would be grabbing some of these. But I'm kind of holding out for something a little better, just because since I've only got 32 SCU, that's going to make a big difference. All right, let's see what we got here. There's 8K. Let's try that. Until they get scanning in this fixed, which hopefully will be soon, you're going to have issues. I do plan on doing another video showing me running around the M2 and how I'm doing it. For those of you that have access to one. I mean, we're far enough along into the patch now that some of you that don't maybe have one pledged actually do have bought one otherwise for transporting your ore. And then you can actually carry extra bags with you as well. So, like on mine, I usually carry the Geo along with a 2 SCU crate and extra boxes for the Geo, and then I also carry the Golem along with 2 extra sets of bags besides the one that's on it. So that way when I go back to the station, I've got 96 SCU, which is equivalent to a mole on each trip. Now it does take a little bit more work because you can actually refine the ore from inside the M2 or C2. However, you do have to go and swap the bags and put them back on the Golem for it to register. So let's see. We got an S-type here. I've had pretty good luck with those. So let's see what this one's got. If you're new to flying, you might actually aim for someplace a little off to one side or the other, up or down or side to side, just so that if you actually overshoot, you don't actually run into the asteroid. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright. Oh, there we go. We got some gold. Let's see what we can do with this. Keep in mind, some of these are not sure if they've actually adjusted things for the composition of the rock or not, but some of these are harder to break with the pitman than others. Some of them actually go up pretty easy, some don't. So just keep that in mind. You might have to give it a little more juice for the same size rock if it's got different stuff in it. Kind of keep it in that lower half of the bar. You should be good. Give it a little more power. You start to drop like that. Notice I got the shields maxed out on this. That's just in case something pops off and hits me, so I don't take any damage. Alright, let's see. So there's 100% iron. Gold, that ain't it. Let's see if we can get a decent break on some of these rocks. 20%. 95. We'll go ahead and grab that. You can actually switch in the game right now. You hit left alt and the left button on your mouse, and that'll actually switch you over to extraction. Again, you have to be inside the zone there, the max zone, in order to be able to harvest it. And again, much like the Prospector, you get 32 SCU with this. Obviously, you can't change the bags to the Argo bags on this because they're different bags. They're made differently, so. But so far, from what I can see, it's actually a pretty nice little ship. Alright, let's go see if we can find something else here. Yep, there's 5K away. We'll go ahead and jump to that next. A lot of times, this is what I'll do in the asteroid belt in Aaron Halo. You can actually get to the Aaron Halo from a number of different locations, like most of the mining stations, like Arc L1, Arc L2. I usually go Arc L1 or Crew L1. We'll get you there. All right, looks like we got a rock here on the left. M-type, so we haven't seen that one yet. Today, anyway. Again, we're going to get inside that max zone. And we got a Griseum 36K. We're not going to be able to crack that. Alright, let's go find something else. There's a 9K over here. Let's go do that. And again, normally I wouldn't be this kind of wishy-washy just going from asteroid to asteroid without actually doing any kind of scanning on it. But scanning doesn't seem to be working properly in the Golem. Not sure if they just haven't fixed it up yet or what. We have tried another of our other ships, like the Starlancer Max. It will not fit in there. It's not tall enough inside it. So the only one I've found, smallest I've found so far, is the Hercules ships. Any of those, the C2, M2, A2. But you can get by without it. I mean, a little more random. Can't necessarily look to see what ships you got or what asteroids, how many asteroids are in it. But once you get that fixed, it'll make a big difference. Alright, so here's our rock down here. Looks like a P-type this time. Mining laser out. We got Quantanium, and that's a small one. Now, normally, I would say to grab it. But we've only got a composition of 2.53 SCU. We've still got a mostly full cargo bay. And I honestly don't know if it's worth grabbing one SCU. Less than probably one SCU of Quantanium, because you would probably have to pick up that entire batch, and then you'd have 20 minutes to get back, so we could end up going back without a full load. Now if I found something that had 3 or 4 SCU of Quantanium, then maybe I'd go ahead and do it, but for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to. And honestly, if I was just running around by myself and I wasn't filming right now, I probably would still grab it and just run back to the station and drop it off and then come back. Just because obviously Quantanium is one of the more expensive ones, plus the little mine thing, or the Wicklow missions, some of them actually call for Quantanium, so if you save up enough of it, then you can actually use it for that. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and bypass this. I know some people will probably be screaming about that, but it is what it is. Remember, I'm actually making a video here, not just out mining for fun. The whole point is to actually show people what this can do, and that wouldn't even require breaking it. Alright, so we've got an E-type this time. That's another barrel rock. We're not going to worry about that. We'll get another 6K or 6 kilometers over here. Let's go ahead and try that. Until they get crafting, and it's still about making money. So, or if you have certain missions that need it. Most of the newer ores, I believe, are going to be over in Pyro, so that's not really a factor for us here. So we're going to be pretty much dealing with the standard ores that we're familiar with. So primarily going to be looking for gold, bexolite, terranite, and quantanium in enough quantities to make it justify being able to grab it. See what this is. Oops. It's already had it out. Terranite at 6K, so we'll go ahead and crack this. Yeah, remember this one's only 6,200. I've only got 30% in it, and it's already starting to climb. So, again, but we're dealing with quartz now instead of iron in that gold rock. Alright, keeping it in that bottom half as much as I can here. Go ahead and get this charged up, get the rock broken, and we'll see about what we can grab there. Hopefully we get a good break. Looks like most of it's going to be purple, so we can just go ahead and switch to extraction mode. 100% quartz. 59% terranite, so we'll probably go ahead and grab that. %. Not enough to matter. So it looks like we so far, well, depending on what this one is, we got at least 2 decent breaks. Alright, so we got 2 here. We'll go ahead and grab this. And then we'll go ahead and grab this one here. Alright. Now let's see what else we can find here. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple over here. This might be 2. Maybe 3. Few sites. We'll get lucky to find another quantanium asteroid over here. Alright, let's see what we got here. We'll start down here, since this one's away from the other two. So that's 4 ace. Let's see what we got here. Vexilite, not bad. Let's see what else we got here. And more Vexilite. We might actually be able to fill up on that one. Let's go ahead and grab that. See if we can break it. Alright. Let's switch back to Fracture Road. And let's go ahead and see if we can break this. Now, I did bring a saber with me. So even if we can't get it to go up with this, we might be able to get it to go up with that. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have to go with that. Let me see here, just one moment. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get out of the ship here. Actually, we got to get that out of there first. And we'll go ahead and, if it'll let us out of the ship. There it is. Alright. So now we'll go ahead and get our saber on the backpack. We'll go over here and connect it up. T for the light so we can see what we're doing. Go ahead and see if we can find a somewhat flat slot. Hit 5 until you actually have the gadget in your hand. Alright. Get close enough to actually flatten out here. Alright. That on there. Of course, we're upside down for whatever reason. Alright, we're at 83. Let's see if we get it to come up. Nope. Other way. There we go, we're activated. Now let's go get back in the ship. Remember, you can actually reuse those gadgets unless they get broken, so don't forget to grab it off of there when you're done. And you can actually just click on this to get back in the ship, rather than actually have to hit the button to open it. Alright, now let's go ahead and get our laser back out. Alright, I'll move a little closer here. Alright, and you see now where you look at the resistance, we were at 40 something before, and now we're at 23. So now we might have a good chance of breaking it here. There we go. Now we're getting some movement. It can charge fast sometimes, so be careful. And then really it's just a matter of controlling your laser output. So Take it up a couple of percent at a time until it stabilizes. Feather it back and forth as you need to. There we go. And we're broken. Now, let's go see if we can get our gadget back. It was over here on the left, so hopefully it'll be there somewhere where we can get to it. And I'm not seeing it. So it might have got broken in the blast there. So we might have lost the gadget. I'll look around some more here for it. Look up top here. In between. Yeah, looks like it might have got broken basically. It does happen. Like most of the time you can reuse the gadget, but not always. Kind of surprised because usually it doesn't do that, but I'll have to see and check and see if that continues to be an issue. Let's see here. I'd really like to find it. I mean, it's not the end of the world. They're like 13 grand, but if you're starting out, that could be a nice chunk of change. But surprisingly, I don't see it anywhere. All right, well, let's go ahead and go back and break some more rocks, I guess. We'll just have to get another one when we get to the station. Most of your mining stations carry the saber, so it's not an issue. I'd rather lose the gadget than lose the modules because those are more specific. You can get both the regular C3 and the Focus 3 at Crew L1. Alright. Let's see here. So that's showing as purple. It's 21%. 46. No, that's yellow, so we'll have to break that one again. 53. That one's yellow as well. 49. So we probably want to break those. But we won't need to be back as far now. We won't have to worry about power as much. You can control your power a little bit just by moving your ship forward or back. Not nearly as effective as it used to be, obviously, since you don't have the distance now. You have to be closer to actually crack the rock. That is the one thing about this. It's just like the Helix. It actually does require you to be pretty close to the rock. So just keep that in mind. That one broke. We'll go ahead and break this one too, since it was a pretty good bid as well. And then we'll check and see what's got the better. This one's a little bit bigger and had a little more percentage in it, so. The other thing to keep in mind is Bexolite actually can fill your hold up a little faster than gold and Terranite can, so if you have the choice, I would almost always go for Bexolite first. I wish I'd have found this rock pert before I took anything else in, because I would have focused on it instead. But at least this way we got a little variety. Let's go ahead and cut the power back here a little bit, get it dropped down a little. Nope, apparently we let it go a little too far. Let's get back up in there. There we go. Watching the rock, not watching the scale. Bad idea. Alright, there we go. Alright. Alright, so let's see what we got here now in these breaks. Now I'm going to look for the higher percentage rocks as much as I can. There's 44. 33. That wasn't a very good break, was it? There we go. That's a keeper. 52, that's not bad. What's this one back here? 68, that's another keeper. So we'll be able to top off with this without too much trouble. 62. 69. Alright, where was that 80? We'll grab that first. Alright, so that took us 26. We'll move around a little bit here. 68, 62, 41, 69. Remember, keep in mind too that the size of the rock actually matters too. Because of course, 60-something% of an 800 mass rock compared to 500 is going to be more. All right, so I'm going to grab this one. That one. This should theoretically fill us up. Looks like we're too far out. There we go. And we're full. Alright, so. And then I'll go ahead and switch back over. And I'll continue on. Now you could actually go back to wherever you were, or you can go somewhere else. For the sake of expediency, I'm going to go ahead and jump to Arc L1. Just because it's closer right now. And I think with that, we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Again, nice ship. Price-wise, not bad at all. Has the same amount of power as a Helix, different negatives, positives, and so forth. But I really think that for a starter mining ship, especially when the fact that you're talking a ship for less than $100 on the store, I would assume when it comes out that it's probably going to be in the million and a half range. So it'll be a lot quicker to buy one in store. It might even be less than that. It might be a million or less. It's hard to tell. Um, but if you do have any questions or comments, let me know. At some point here, maybe we'll take a look and see what the stats are and so forth like that. There's not everybody's got a lot of information on it yet, so it's kind of hard to like you got to wait for people to get that information freely out there. I believe Regolith does have information on the Pitman laser. However, it does not have information on the Golem itself. The last I looked, so but I think basically a prospector, but without the internal space with the bed and stuff like that is really what it comes down to. You've got the same amount of space. You cannot change the Pitman laser out, so you are stuck with the laser that comes with it. But with that being said, it's a nice trade-off because it's a pretty powerful laser with specific pluses and minuses compared to some of the other ones. So it'll give you nice power. Even if you use this with no modules whatsoever, you can still crack pretty decent-sized rocks. So I think all in all, not bad at all. And I would highly recommend it for those that don't have a prospector already and don't have any intention of buying one anytime soon. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe you just don't want to put that much in. Or maybe you're holding out for something else. I personally have bought one myself just because that'll give me a nice small ship to mine with when I feel like it. Because I don't actually own a smaller ship. The prospector and mole I have are both loaners for the Arastra. So this will actually fit into my hangar nicely, and actually gives me the ability to go out and do some small mining, not to mention the fact that you can put it on another ship and carry it around. A little harder to do that with the prospector and some of the other ships. So let's see here. We'll go ahead and get in the hangar here. And he's a pretty responsive little ship. So as you would expect from Drake, I mean, it doesn't have a huge top speed. I think it's like 900 or 1,000 or something like that, which is, comparable to other ships like it. So no, not bad at all. All right, let's see. Go ahead and get landed here. All right, take a quick look outside here. Go ahead and refuel here. Always refuel and repair when you land. That way you don't forget. All right, go ahead and get out of here and just do kind of a quick run around the ship itself. So obviously you have no internal room. It's just literally in the seat or not. That's your choices. These right here are the bags. They actually do come off pretty easily. There's 16 SCU per bag, but there is only 2 of them. In order to actually remove these, you have to remove, when it's landed like this, you have to remove the back one first, and then you can actually pull the other one out the back this way as well. You can't actually manually put modules on this when you're in the hangar, because the mining laser is on top folded up. It's like right in that range right there above this area. It actually sits in the top of the ship, so there's no way to get to it to add them. It does actually come with your normal 2 guns, just like the prospector. However, this one actually comes with a couple of missiles. I think they're like 2 size 1 missiles. Other than that, there's really not too much else to say about it. I mean, it's a nice little ship for what it cost. You get different paint jobs for it, the whole work. So again, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Like I said, I've got another video that I've done that I haven't finished editing yet. I just wanted to get this one out there because people were asking about the Golem. And that one includes me actually changing the bags out while on a C2 out on a mission, out on mining. And then it also has me, coming back to refinery and actually refining the orders with changing the bags out and everything else. So any questions, comments, let me know. Other than that, have a nice day.